Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Pray First. I know you're thinking, hey, it's a Wednesday morning, and that does not look like Doug. It does not. We like to keep you guessing. Doug had another thing that he has to get to this morning, so I offered to swap with him. And I love that we get to do that, having many pastors be able to come to every morning and just interact with you guys. So welcome to Pray First. Welcome to Pray First. Come on in here. Make sure you're saying hi to each other. Remember, this is an interactive conversation. Make sure you're hashtagging live and hashtagging recorded. And again, saying hi to each other. Also, make sure that you're hitting the likes, hitting the hearts, so that people who are new will come in and say, what is this all about? And they get to see all the hearts and the thumbs up going up on the side. And that is for you new people that are coming in. I'm just so excited. I know I'm going to talk extra fast today, so I'm trying to slow down because I am excited to get into the message and to read what I have today as far as my portion of the Bible Project. But it's September 1st. Oh, see, I told you I'm getting ahead of myself. So first of all, thank you to everyone who's praying for my Becca. I wasn't here last Friday because my middle child was getting her wisdom teeth out. And she was hysterical. If she wouldn't kill me, I would have videotaped it and I would have put it online because my goodness was she fun. But anyway, so again, a huge thank you to everyone who prayed. And I appreciate that Dennis covered me so that I could be with her for her surgery. All right, so it is September 1st, and you know what that means? If you've been following along at all, we are super excited. September 1st is the official launch of something that we're calling Destiny Delivers. And I know I'm saying this on Pray First, and you're like, wait, this is not, but it is. Let me explain why. So, you know how we're always talking on Pray First, the importance of making a difference, the importance of, sometimes you can't change the whole world, but you change one person's world. So I'm talking to you guys because you are my active audience, and many of you, not all of you, but many of you, I do believe are disciples, because this concept of giving God first, giving God the first of your day, many of you have been here for the 4 years. Actually, let me know, hashtag how long you have been joining Pray First. If it's a year, 2 years since the beginning, or if you're a recent member, if you've just recently joined into Pray First. All of that to say this: we have a responsibility, if you're a disciple, if you identify yourself as a disciple, to touch others, to love others, to make a difference in people's worlds, because we are to love one another. And one of the things that I love is that there's always opportunities to do so. But sometimes if you're like me, you may not have the best ideas of, I wonder what I could do. Well, then you have people who have brilliant ideas that come along. And, that's one of the wonderful things about working alongside Pastor Doug as not only my pastor, but also I work alongside him as he is the CEO of this incredible organization called Destiny Center. And right now, September 1st, Destiny Center is launching something called Destiny Delivers. And that's where we're going to have volunteers go out every Tuesday and Thursday, starting October, and feed seniors ages 60 and above. The criteria is the seniors has to be 60 and above, they have to be at home, and they have to be not working. That's all that they have to be qualified for, and it's free. And it's not meals that you have to make if you're a volunteer. It's meals that we're going to actually purchase from restaurants and deliver to them, and that's going to be twofold. One, it's going to feed them because many of them are food insecure. But two, do you know since COVID, it's more than doubled seniors feeling lonely at home. And we can do something about that. We can love on them. So it doesn't matter where you are. If you're not in the DeSoto County area, that's okay. Get involved and love on someone that you know that is alone. If you are in the DeSoto County area, check out the Destiny Center Facebook page and either get involved, because you can volunteer. We always need help. Or refer someone that you may know who's at home right now as a senior and could use that extra love, that extra touch from somebody, so that they know they're not alone. When we were looking into developing this program in order to feed seniors, do you realize that sometimes the only person, I'm going to say this slower because I talk so fast, the only person that a senior will see in a given week is the person that's providing a meal for them. That's the type of social isolation that they're dealing with. And that's not okay. That's not okay when there's disciples like you and me out there. We all have different gifts. I'm not saying that everyone, but there's always a way that you can make a difference in somebody's world. You know, a phrase that I used this week that I was questioned on is to live your life in such a way that demands an explanation. I want that to be said about me. I was saying that about a friend of mine as well, who probably wants to remain anonymous. I'm not sure. But anyways, he lives his life in such a way that people go, why is he different? And it's because, one, he's a true disciple and he's living his life differently so that people can see that. And that's just what I want to encourage you. So all that spiel, I know it took 5 minutes, but it's important. You know, we focused on kids, we focus on everyone, but sometimes there's a demographics that may need a little bit more of our help. And right now we're focusing on the senior. So again, go to Destiny Center if you're on Facebook. Well, you're obviously on Facebook, and follow and refer someone and get involved if you can. All right, I am about ready to jump into reading the message. But as I'm getting into, remember the Bible project that we're doing where we're reading the Message version of the Bible. It is so much fun to read it in the Message version. But it's also there's many folds, but the 2 folds I'm going to do, obviously this morning, I'm about ready to read. But in addition to that, guys, we're doing the Bible project where we're bearing Bibles, and we've sent it out to, I believe it's 42 states have been signed up, but I have not yet heard back from many of those states. So if you have a Bible and the time capsule, and you signed up because you wanted to bury the time capsule, can you please get on that, or at least message me and let me know, or even you can message the Pastor Doug page as well. And let me know what that status is, if you're still planning on doing it. And if you've done it, you just haven't sent me pictures yet, please send me pictures. All right, quickly shouting out there. Good morning, Juanita. Good morning, Christine. Hey, Terry French. Hey, Kelly. How are you guys doing? I know I saw a lot of people coming in. Hey, Pam Levins. Pam, hey, huge thank you to Pam Levins. She was instrumental in getting so many of the Bibles out because, you know, you have to package them all up, you got to label them, and I gave her a whole list, and then she had to stand in that lovely post office line to make that happen. So thank you again, Pam Levins. All right, peoples, I'm going to go ahead and get started because I do want to get a little bit or a lot of Genesis read so that we can just absorb the word together, because I'm thoroughly enjoying reading the Old Testament in the Message version. All right, so here we go. Pastor Dennis stopped at the end of chapter 29, so we are starting in Genesis chapter 30. Let's see. Oh, Michelle Edge, that is, I'm sorry, before I read, the name of the book that we're going to be starting with small groups, and I'll pause on that too, thank you. So we are going to be doing Kingdom Disciples, and that is by Pastor Tony Evans, and that is the small group study that we will be starting on September 13th. All right, here we go, chapter 30. When Rachel realized that she wasn't having any children for Jacob, she became jealous of her sister. She told Jacob, "Give me sons or I'll die." Jacob got angry with Rachel and said, "Am I God? Am I the one who refused you babies?" Rachel said, "Here's my maid, Bilhah." Hold on, guys. I got to get my glasses. My old eyes in the morning. Here's my babe. Here's my maid, Bilhah. Sleep with her. Let her substitute for me so I can have a child through her and build a family. So she gave him her maid Bilhah for a wife, and Jacob slept with her. And she became pregnant and gave Jacob a son. Rachel said, "God took my side and vindicated me. He listened to me and he gave me a son." She named him Dan, vindication. Rachel's maid became pregnant again and gave Jacob a second son. Rachel said, "I've been in an all-out fight with my sister and I've won." So she named him Naphtali, which means fight. Okay, just FYI, I can't imagine saying, "Hey, Alex, go ahead and sleep with this person." That is such a weird tradition in the Old Testament. Anyways, when Leah saw that she wasn't having any more children, she gave her maid Zilpah to Jacob for a wife. Zilpah had a son for Jacob. Leah said, "How fortunate." She named him Gad, which means lucky. When Leah's maid Zilpah had a second son for Jacob, Leah said, "A happy day. The woman will congratulate me in my happiness." So she named him Asher, which means happy. I didn't know that. One day during the wheat harvest, Reuben found some mandrakes in the field and brought them home to his mother Leah. Rachel asked Leah, "Could I please have some of your son's mandrakes?" Leah said, "Wasn't it enough that you got my husband away from me, and now you also want my son's mandrakes?" Rachel said, "All right, I'll let him sleep with you tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes." When Jacob came home that evening from the fields, Leah was there to meet him. "Sleep with me tonight. I bartered my son's mandrakes for a night with you." So he slept with her that night. God listened to Leah. She became pregnant and gave Jacob a fifth son. She said, "God rewarded me for giving my maid to my husband." She named him Issachar, which means bartered. Leah became pregnant yet again and gave Jacob a sixth son, saying, "God has given me a great gift. This time my husband will honor me with gifts." I've given him 6 sons. She named him Zebulun, which means honor. Last of all, she had a daughter and named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel. God listened to her and opened her womb. She became pregnant and had a son. She said, "God has taken away my humiliation." She named him Joseph, which means add, praying, "May God add yet another son to me." After Rachel had had Joseph, Jacob spoke to Laban. "Let me go back home. Give me my wives and children for whom I've served you. You know how hard I've worked for you." And he said, "If you please, I have learned through divine inquiry that God has blessed me because of you." He went on, "So name your wages and I'll pay you." Jacob replied, "You know well that my work has meant to you. What my work has meant to you, and how your livestock has flourished under my care. The little you had when I arrived had increased greatly. Everything I did resulted in blessings for you. Isn't it about time that I do something for my own family?" "So what should I pay you?" Jacob said. "You don't have to pay me a thing. How about this? I will go back to pasture and care for your flocks. Go through your entire flock today and take out every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages. That way you can check on my honesty when you assess my wages. If you find any goat that's not speckled or spotted, or sheep that's not black, you will know that I stole it. Fair enough. It's a deal." But that very day, Laban removed all the mottled and spotted billy goats and all the speckled and spotted nanny goats, every animal that had even a touch of white on it, plus all the black sheep, and placed them under the care of his sons. Then he put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob. Meanwhile, Jacob went on tending what was left of his flock. But Jacob got fresh branches from poplar, almond, and plain trees, and peeled the bark, leaving white strips on them. He stuck the peeled branches on in front of the watering troughs when the flocks came to drink. When the flocks were in heat, they came to drink and mated in front of the streaked branches. Then they gave birth to young that were streaked or spotted or speckled. Jacob placed the ewes before the dark-colored animals of Laban. That way he got distinctive flocks for himself, which he didn't mix with Laban's flocks. Even when the sturdier animals were mating, Jacob placed branches at the troughs and views of the animals so they mated in front of the branches. But he wouldn't set up the branches before the feebler animals. That way the feeble animals went to Laban and the sturdy ones to Jacob. The man got richer and richer, acquiring huge flocks, lots and lots of servants, not to mention camels and donkeys. Chapter 31. Jacob learned that Laban's sons were talking behind his back. "Jacob has used our father's wealth to make himself rich at our father's expense." At that time, Jacob noticed that Laban hadn't changed toward him. He wasn't treating them the same. He had changed, I'm sorry. That's when God said to Jacob, "Go back home when you were born. I'll go with you." So Jacob sent word for Rachel and Leah to meet him out in the field where his flocks were. He said, "I notice that your father has changed toward me. He doesn't treat me the same as before. But the God of my father hasn't changed. He's still with me." Hashtag he's still with us. "You know how hard I've worked for your father. Still, your father has cheated me over and over, changing my wages time and again. But God never let him really hurt me. If he said your wages will consist of speckled animals, the whole flock would start having speckled lambs and kids. And if he said from now on your wages will be streaked animals, the whole flock would have streaked ones. Over and over, God used your father's livestock to reward me. Once, while the flocks were mating, I had a dream and saw the billy goats, all of them streaked, speckled, and mottled, mounting their mates. In the dream, the angel of God called out to me, 'Jacob.' I said, 'Yes.' He said, 'Watch closely. Notice that all the goats in the flock that are mating are streaked, speckled, and mottled. I know what he's been doing to you. I'm the God of Bethel, where you consecrated a pillar and made a vow to me. Now be on your way, get out of this place, go home to your birthplace.' Rachel and Leah said, "Has he treated us any better? Aren't we treated worse than outsiders? All he wanted was the money he got from selling us, and he spent all that. Any wealth that God has seen fit to return to us from our fathers justly ours and our children. Go ahead, do what God told you." Jacob did it. He put his children and his wives and camels, and he gathered all of his livestock and everything he had gotten acquired in Padam Aram to go back home to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Laban was off shearing sheep. Rachel stole her father's household gods. And that's a no-no. And Jacob had concealed his plan so well that Laban the Aramean had no idea what was going on. He was totally in the dark. Jacob got away with everything he had and was soon across the Euphrates, headed for the hill country of Gilead. 3 days later, he got the news. Jacob's run off. He rounded up his relatives and chased after him. 7 days later, they caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. That night, God came to him, the Aramean, in a dream and said, "Be careful what you do to Jacob, whether good or bad." When Laban reached him, Jacob's tents were pitched in the Gilead mountains. He pitched his tents there too. "What do you mean," said Laban, "by keeping me in the dark and sneaking off, hauling my daughters off like prisoners of war? Why did you run off like a thief in the night? Why didn't you tell me? Why, I would have sent you off with a great celebration, music, timbrels, fruits. But you wouldn't permit me so much as a kiss for my daughters and grandchildren. It was a stupid thing for you to do. If I have a mind to, I could destroy you right now. But the God of your father spoke to me last night. Be careful what you do to Jacob, whether good or bad. I understand. You left because you were homesick, but why did you steal my household gods?" Jacob answered Laban, "I was afraid. I thought you would take your daughters away from me by brute force. But as far as your gods are concerned, if you find that anybody here has them, that person dies. With all of us watching, look around. If you find anything here that belongs to you, take it." Jacob didn't know that Rachel had stolen the goods. So as he went through Jacob's tent, Leah's tent, and the tents of the two maids, but didn't find them, he went from Leah's tent to Rachel's. But Rachel had taken the household gods, put them inside a camel cushion, and was sitting on them. When he had gone through the tent, searching high and low without finding a thing, Rachel said to her father, "Don't think I'm being disrespectful, my master, that I can't stand before you, but I'm having my period." So even though he turned the place upside down in the search, he didn't find the household gods. Okay, women, just putting it out there. Can you imagine if every time we had a period, we got to sit around and do nothing? Wouldn't that be fantastic? All right, anyways. Now it was Jacob's turn to get angry. He lit into Laban. So what's my crime? What's wrong have I done you that you badger me like this? You've ransacked the place? Have you turned up a single thing that's yours? Let's see it. Display the evidence. Our two families can be the jury and decide between us. In the 20 years I've worked for you, ewes and she-goats never miscarried. I never feasted on the rams for your flock. I never bought you a torn carcass killed by wild animals that I paid for it out of my own pocket. Actually, you made me pay whether it was my fault or not. I was out in all kinds of weather, from torrid heat to freezing cold, putting in many sleepless nights. For 20 years I've done this. I slaved away 14 years for 2 daughters and another 6 years for your flock, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not stuck with me, you would have sent me off penniless. But God saw the fix I was in and how hard I worked, and last night he rendered his verdict. He defended himself. The daughters are my daughters. The children are my children. The flock is my flock. Everything you see is mine. But what can I do about my daughters or for the children they've had? So let's settle things between us. Let's make a covenant. God will be the witness between us. So Jacob took a stone and set it upright as a pillar. And Jacob called his family around. "Get stones." They gathered stones and heaped them up, and they then ate there beside the pile of stones. He named it in Aramaic, tongue-tied there, Yigar Sahadutha, witness monument. Jacob echoed the naming in Hebrew, Galeed, witness monument. Laban said, "This monument of stones will be a witness, beginning now between you and me." It is also called Mitzvah, which is a watchtower, because he said, "God kept watch between you and me when we are out of each other's sight. If you mistreat my daughters or take other wives when there's no one around to see you, God will see you and stand between us." And he continued to Jacob, "This monument of stones and this stone pillar that I have set up is a witness that I won't cross this line to hurt you, and you won't cross this line to hurt me. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, will keep things straight between us." Jacob promised, swearing by the God of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain in worship, calling in all his family members to the meal. They ate and slept that night in the morning. And then Laban got up early in the next morning, kissed his grandchildren and his daughters, blessed them, and sent them off for home. All right, we're going to go ahead and end there at the end of chapter 31, so we can start at chapter 32 the next time we pick up and start reading the Message Bible. All right, guys, again, thank you all so much for joining me this morning. Remember what I said, and this is like all this, everything that God provides and God's there for us. Also, I want you guys to remember that we have to do our part, okay? Do our part, make a difference in someone's life. Get out there, be not just about yourself, but others. Be it if it's you're going to volunteer in something like the Destiny Center, which is a great nonprofit, but look in your area, see where there's a need, do your part to meet that need, all right? So, praying us out here. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for my friends. Thank you for their diligence, Lord, that they come every morning, Monday through Friday, and they join us, Lord, and they're here to hear the word, hear anything that we are sharing, Lord, from you, Lord, and that they're encouraged and that they encourage other people, Lord. So, no spirit but your Holy Spirit, have your way. Bless them, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, real quick, guys, and I say that each time, if you guys have prayer requests, please message us, let us know. I know that when I shut off this video, you can't continue to comment on the live feed, but you can message us. I know COVID is having it is terrorizing some people, my friends. It is going around like nuts. So if you need prayer for that, please let us know. If it's not you, but you have a dear friend that's struggling with it, let us know. Prayer is our tool that we use, and let's use it, all right? Have a great day, guys. See you later. Bye.